music and the art all at once. It's like it's really beautiful.
But it has to be accessible, right?
Right.
So art is so inaccessible for the new generations. It's almost it's a reach for me sometimes to reach back into the classic of where I was trained, but I'm like in this other realm of like rock and pop and like so you live in this world of classical and timeless. So if Coco was, I don't know, it's really interesting. I hear you talk about these artists like you know them, right? Like you live with them. It's just a really interesting.
I always feel like I have this conversation with them all the time when I practice. It's like, okay, little girl, this here Bach talking to me. I want you to prove to the world that my music is so romantic. It's so romantic, and it's not that hard. You know, if you love it, it's not that hard. Yeah. And then I had this conversation like between, the other day I had a dream, is that like in the court, and I was like standing in the front of the church, and there all these composers were screaming like, "She belonged to me." Beethoven said, and then Schubert said, "She belonged to me," and then Bach and everybody, and then like, you're just standing there like, okay, just be patient with me, you know? Okay, I will do it. I want to play all of your music. And then you just, you just have this.
So what you're getting at is that Coco.
What? But what can I do?
Hold on. You live in the innocence that we all once knew.
A little bit, yeah.
That's where we kind of came from.
We all came from this like training that we may have abandoned in like the childhood like sense of the classical, and you've lived with these composers. I see evidence in your art. Like this is your art. Like there's evidence of Bach.
Someday I feel like, just write long and feel like connected. You can walk through the music page. But you go from here to Vietnam.
Coco.
Connected.
Coco.
Do you remember that story about watermelon?
No one knows.
Watermelon, when we got stuck in the island and they grow watermelon, and until the watermelon can float on the ocean and you walk back to the land. That's how music.
I mean, that's what I'm saying.
No, I don't know.
Doesn't make sense.
It's the difference between like where we live and where you live. It's like you're speaking a language that's unique, and you need to own it, and it's very, very, very unique. So, I think.
But what can I do? Like, what is the best thing to give? Like, what should you give? Like, music or what?
No. All you can do is continue to give your gift. All that you can do is continue to give your gift, and like.
When you play, when you compose your own music, is it a different feeling than when you sort of try to, incarnate your best Bach, or like how do you rate them in your feeling dimension?
I usually practicing a lot of one thing, and then.
But when you compose something that feels.
You feel?
Does it feel better, or does it feel different?
I feel like after play it, and I feel like I'm in a room with Bach or Beethoven, and think like, okay, that's what you just wrote, right? Okay, how about if I write this to just have a little conversation? Although my talking on it is a lot more, not stupid, but like. I'm going to just have something to say, not that intelligent, not that difficult, but I'm going to say something.
What I'm getting at is like, the affinity that you have with the classical guys. I mean, it seems to me as if it's sort of a foundation for you. It's kind of like it's a place where you resonate with who you truly are. And it sounds like you have this kind of relationship with them and with it that is just like so personal, and that's why I asked about your personal works and when you compose. Does it feel like an extension of that? Do you feel that your love of the classics inspires you to do your own version?
Love and respect for what they
because
wrote
I think
and understand it. And
becomes,
after so many years, you sort of like understand the meaning of each note saying what. Like sharp, like flat, and interval, like sixth minor, sixth major, third, whatever, like dominant.
But you talk about music being cyclical. The things become, especially in pop music, things that go out of style come back into style.
Same thing with fashion. But these were cool in the 40s.
Exactly. So what about classical music? I mean, can it be hit? Can it be more than just like a remix with, a pop song or something? Can it be something that?
But that is a gift that I think all these composers are like the sons of God, like good sons of God. That God sent them down here to give us the foundation, and our job is to play with it. But once you have that,
I want this on film.
Once you
want this conversation on film.
Once you have that, then they become like a chef. Okay, you have God give you the fruit and the vegetable and the meat and the sauce, and okay, now you go in and you mix it up and make something nice. Isn't
that's
that like
a new composition. So that's a new piece.
And you can make something even more interesting than what they did, because now you have the technology, you have all the spiritual, like you name it. So many, like our soul is like growing more, right? We become smarter every day, don't we? I feel like that. Because like in last history, what we invent, and this history, what do we invent? Like a lot more. So we have the tools of technology and this amazing spirit and inspired, like all this performance.
I feel like it's new music with her. I mean, I feel like because the context is so good for really honoring the past, but it feels like new compositions. It feels like the center, the narrative of her life is really what you're creating, what you're doing with all of your influences. And living in New York and
I'm like a monkey, because I learn very fast, and whatever you see, you pick a little bit. You pick and you put somewhere in your brain, and then and also like whatever you study in school, composition and conducting, whatever, it doesn't seem like you got it there. But then time after time, and then when you're lonely, and then everything come back. I can almost hear like my composition teacher, Andrew, Andrew from Manhattan School of Music. Yeah. I can hear everything he said, and then all of a sudden I use it for writing. Yeah, like you write a song. You don't want to just write all flat and like this. He said, music should be like a city. The building, high rise, up and down like this, so the melodies should be the same. That's how it's like, interesting. And then you can go full forte and then full pianissimo and whatever. And then I also I love baroque. Like you can go flat for so long, but it's still so sexy. Like every time people think that it's about to go up, it's still down. It drives you nuts. And that's exciting, right?
Why is she not on TV? Like seriously,
and maybe that's it. Because she brings classical music into a space that is what you're like. How do you bridge something so profoundly foundational that seems so disconnected in some ways to where we are now? It's like she's like a bridge to like a new understanding and feeling of the classics with like her life, and the whole thing is like a whole picture that I think the service that it provides is a bridge to a type of music that is basically sort of there as a kind of it's sort of static and kind of fixed in history. And I think of all the hipsters, and I think like they're so open to different you can't categorize a hipster. You go like, okay man, they like Bon Iver, they're like this, like that, they're like that's wide open to an expression of what Coco could do. I mean, I just feel like it's definitely a connecting point to. You are a connecting point to that I've never felt that before.
Yeah, it's really
you bring it to to me as a person in a way that, like now, 2012, you know, that I feel a connection with this extensive traditional lineage that I, you know, didn't go to school for that, and it's in the way she embodies it.
But
once you got the spirit,
you can
get everything so fast. No, really, and then for me, like I need to go into subway just so that I can watch every single face. Because then when you watch it, and it's a story, right? And when you see a lady that you love, like so humble in her plastic little, you know, bottle of water, and she had paper towel wrapping around with rubber band, and then inside a plastic bag, she put it in the middle of her leg like this, so humble and beautiful face. I go home and then, you know what? That's the story I can't stop thinking about. So you sit down at the piano and, you know, I'm gonna give her some love. So you just write some music that feel like comforting to her, and you all of a sudden feel like very connected to God. Yeah. And it's just a fantastic feeling. Yeah. Fantastic.
I have to find a way to tell your story. I have to. Like, it's really unique. Your music, your art is like it's great. It's like up here in your like childhood, your like how you got here is like really dynamic. The fact that nobody's telling your story is really comical to me. Like why this is not happening. So we have to find a way that your story gets told, that you get to talk in this language. You talk about Bach like he's still alive. You talk about that's like it's
the walls.
I think Bach is God. I don't know something.
No, it's
no. I agree with you, but you're not alone there. But I mean, I think that you
wipe your face. You do this like you're apologetic, but I think it's what makes you unique is your thought process that brings these classic artists to life, like people that we would have been friends with, people that would have sat on a couch with us and like enjoyed this conversation, right? So it's like it's that. It's not. It's not just the backdrop.
If you study Renaissance music, and they teach you all the way from, my God, the Gregorian chant or whatever. So and there's a lot of things called the underworld, you know.
Yeah.
The underworld is like after you die, and there's still the world that people live, and once you get into that and you feel connected to, oh my God, so many conversations start going. Yeah, it's just incredible. I think that's a lot to do with praying too. I don't think if anybody doesn't believe in God, I think it's pity, because I'm sure there's God, and you go into church, it's important. Being nice to your neighbor.
Well, there's a tradition of the music of the spheres, which
nice
is this idea that all of the great melodies are already played in the spheres, like the music of the spheres, like a spiritual realm, and that Bach and Mozart and stuff, it's that simple,
I know,
simple
like
notes
so
that are put together in a way that is irreplicable. Like you can't, like, you know, and then you go, man, who sits down without the ego to the point where that can just be what it is. And when they do it, and they haven't done it very often in history, when they do it, people 200-300 years later are still